I don't get that. All of you again. No!
Where's the honey?
Oh yes, my fellow hunters, prepare for your hype to rise even further. Yes. Because it's time for that best part of every new Monster Hunter game. Every single monster that will rear its ugly or beautiful or terrifying or incredible head within it before we lop it off. Before we had just 9 confirmed. Now, well, we have 26 confirmed monsters to appear before us in Rise, so let's get to it. Firstly, let's blast through the ones we already knew about before all of the new juiciness was revealed. So firstly, we have Toby Kadachi, who's going Splat C. We also have the new spider monster who'll crawl upon you. Magnamalo, who's causing the rampage, oh no. Aknosom, Parasol Bird, Great Azuchi working with the little Azuchi. I mean, that's kind of absurd. Tetranadon, who's stomping along. Azaros, who finds him kind of gross. And then, of course, we have the little Kelbi, and we also see a Guaga and an Altaroth, and then a Bahabra to complete what we know. Actually, that's not true. Little Jagras is also in, so that's the roster thus far. Or at least it was, but now, well, there is just so much more. And by the way, I've got into detail of each of these in the previous roster roundup, if you feel like checking that out, but my attention, of course, is on our new beauties. We have Somnacanth, our lovely siren, our mermaid dragon, our just kinda human enough, but not human enough to just be a little bit disconcerting, yet kinda hauntingly beautiful. I mean, this monster lures people in because they genuinely think it's not a monster, but a woman in distress, and then she hits you with her sleepy breath, and that rapidly leads to your death. And that is a very, very cool concept. It's awesome to see Leviathan's back, and this is one hell of a one to kick things off. Even having an otter-esque floating on her back, breaking open a clam, looks like it might actually have healing juice in it, which is lovely, but here you go. A formidable aquatic serpent that crests on moonlit nights. Likely why it has often been mistaken for a mermaid. Despite its appearance, it is extremely aggressive and tolerates no trespassers on its turf. It expels an intoxicating sleep powder from an organ on its neck, knocking out prey before it can resist. Now, I would bet my bottom zenny that Somnacanth does indeed have a turf war with our next new monster heading up the fanged beast, Bishaten, or Bishaten? One of the two, but this guy is fantastic. He is the Tengu Wyvern, based of course on a Tengu, and he is looking fabulous. He's got a full-on hand for a tail, prehensile in nature, grabby and swingy, and he is all about throwing fruit at you. A lot of fruit. And indeed, the fruit in question seems to be persimmons, or at least based on them. They have that distinctive look, and he is throwing a multitude of colours. I'm kinda hoping that each colour represents maybe a different status, so we have a duo or maybe even triple status monster. Purple being poison looks to make sense, but we have ourselves a very, very agile Quechua-esque creature here with a lot of quirky personality, and, well, a monster with a distinctive tail. While it is omnivorous, it has a preference for fruit, and keeps various fruit with all kinds of effects in its belly pouch. Well, there we go on the status medley front. An incredibly curious beast that enjoys playing tricks on people and has been seen to bat fruit at its prey using its tail. That's incredibly cool. Like, if it has a super attack where it absolutely cannons its ultimate fruit at you using its tail, that would be amazing. Then we have ourselves Royal Ludrov, who is looking just gorgeous. The alpha male of the Ludrov pack, and, well, all about that spongy mane. And that spongy mane is looking the best it ever has. You can actually see that spongy texture on it, filled with water and ready for a good squishing. It is nice to have him back, and indeed the Leviathans in general, as I said. Great Roggy to head up the Raptors. Here's Poison Sack bulging and ready for action. Him leading his pack too is going to be fantastic. Obviously his main draw, let's be honest, is the cowboy armor. Then we have ourselves Rathalos from the Rampage. We also know we are getting Rathian, as we've seen Rathian equipment around the place, including a Rathian insect glaive, which is, I believe, new. And then, of course, our tease of Kezu in his lovely cave, which, by the way, seems to be on an entirely different map, a frosty map. We see his electro ball across the pool of water to attack our, well, good friends Baggy, our little sleeping raptors. Though Kezu, of course, means that we're getting Kezu, because the confirmation of Kezu means that Kezu will be in the game. So hearing his roar, the Kezu roar, is Kezu. So Kezu will be in Rise, because Kezu is in Rise, which means we'll see Kezu. Now what I'm getting at here is... what I'm getting at here is that Kezu, technically speaking, is freaky as hell. And I know you might be saying, well, obviously, look at him. He has a stretchy, weird circle mouth and sniffs you. Yeah, but also he is supposed to have transparent skin. Kezu, you can see its internal organs. You can see pulsing veinings of blood around its body. That pure white opaqueness is just a graphical limitation. So given that Ludrov's got his extra detailed sponge, are we actually about to see the most horrific incarnation and thus most accurate incarnation of Kezu ever? Because make no mistake, every returning monster that is in Rise but wasn't in World or Iceborne will look better than it ever has by a fair margin. So I am both terrified and intrigued. But at least I can exclusively show you, or at least let you hear, the full Rise remastered version of the Kezu theme. Magnificent, isn't it? Absolutely magnificent. So that's another load of monsters confirmed, but we also have Slagdorf, who made the briefest little appearance rising from the murky water. We also got ourselves Vespoid, who showed up for like 3 frames just as a little I can't wait to sting you. Great, that's absolutely wonderful, lovely to see him. Obviously we have the Baggy and the Roggy, the small ones, and then we have to get a little bit extrapolatory. But look, if we have base Baggy, we're going to have great Baggy, and if we have base Jagras, we're going to have great Jagras. No, I won't go as far to say as because we now see an ice map, we're going to get something like the Gombi, because we already have Azeroth, so you know that's the bears. I think it's very likely, but we don't know that for sure. But what we do know is 26 non-endemic life monsters are coming to greet us in Rise so far, and that is absolutely just fantastic. Seriously, every new Rise trailer has me like, oh, I love the expression on Rocky's sack face. Which one is your favorite? Which one are you looking forward to the most? Personally, I can't wait to just learn more about these creatures, especially our 2 new ones, see what they do, follow them round, and kind of creep on them living their life. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more. Please consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon. But until next time, a goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on, and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.